Renato Ramos. It is Matthew here with freeprescriptionlenses.com. And are you ready to... Okay, I'll stop all that. Are you ready for me to cut some anti-glare lenses for your Rayban 5121 color 2000 shiny black and a 50 eye size? I'm going to cut some anti-glare lenses for your brand new Rayban Wayfarer frame. It's got the Wayfarer embossed onto the case, and it's even got the black Rayban cloth that comes with it. So this is how Rayban ships it to me, with a little protective sleeve on the left temple. If they think it's a good idea to ship one on the left temple to avoid scratches, well, by golly, I'm going to put one on this side so you can rest assured that this is going to be shipped to you perfectly. So let me take all this packaging off. You still have the original demo lenses that came with that. I'm going to remove those. I'm going to put these in the bag, so don't forget you receive everything the same way Rayban sends it to me. So that's in there. And I'm going to put your Wayfarer frame, your classic geek chic frame, I'm going to put that into my Italian Santinelli LE1000 patternless edger. The stylus is going to pop up and trace the shape of your left lens, and then it's going to move over and trace the shape of the right. Here at freeprescriptionlenses.com, where everyone loves a bargain and no one is disappointed with quality. You buy a frame and you get free clear single vision, prescription or non-prescription lenses. You got the non-prescription fashion lenses and you pay the upgrade fee to the anti-glare. So I'm pulling up the shape of your lens now. If this were your prescription, I'd put your pupillary distance. Because it's not, I'm going to have it match the frames. This is a polycarbonate lens that I'm going to cut on a soft cycle, which means it cuts slower because of the anti-glare coating. And this is a Xyle frame, which is an old school name for plastic. So these are your lenses. I'm going to take them out of their protective sleeves. Toss those. And this is a block, as it is called. It's going to hold your lens in place on the lathe while it's cutting. But I need to put a little sticky pad on here so it sticks to the lens. The black side is the sticky side, and these are from 3M, the same people who make Post-it notes. I stuck that on there. Now I'm going to pull away the double-sided tape to make it sticky on this side and stick that onto your lens. Let's do the same thing for the other side. Peel away the tape. Now the anti-glare coating, which I'll mention in a little bit, but one thing I wanted to point out is that coating is a hydrophobic coating, meaning that it hates water. It's a little bit more slippery when it's cutting. So I'm going to put another little adhesive sticker on the back of the lens so there's no way it will slip while it's cutting in the chuck. So I'm going to hit start. That's going to close. These calipers are going to come down and trace the shape of your right lens onto the concave side of the lens first. The concave side is closest to your eyelashes, and then it's going to move over and trace the convex side of the lens, measuring the thickness of the lens, knowing exactly where to place the bevel. The actual cutting wheel is down here on the bottom left. It's that lighter color wheel that looks like a heavy grit sandpaper. That's going to grind away your polycarbonate material. This wheel in the center with that channel is what's going to put the bevel onto the lens so it stays inside the bevel of the frame. I will have to close the door in a moment, but for now I just want you to see as your unbreakable polycarbonate lens with anti-glare touches down onto the cutting wheel. This whole process should take about 15 minutes. It's now 8:05 on Wednesday, May 7th. 74 degrees in my hometown of Durham, North Carolina, at least according to my Samsung Gear 2 watch. So that anti-glare coating that you got, let me grab a lens that does not have that on there. The anti-glare coating is designed to eliminate glare when driving at night, particularly driving at night in the rain, but also from street lights, stoplights, computer screens, overhead, fluorescent lights, all of that. It's also a reflection-free lens. You can see how the reflection of the fluorescent lights are on this lens here on the right, and not on this one. So it makes for better eye contact. When someone's looking at you, they don't see their reflection in your glasses. The single reason a lot of people buy it, if someone takes a picture with a flash, you won't see the flash lit up in the lens. And the third feature that I like, the practical side, is they put the best scratch protection of any lens possible on top of the anti-glare lenses, so they protect their investment of that anti-glare coating. If you notice, the lens is still completely flat around the edges like a nickel. If I were to take this out and stand it up, it would stand up on its own. This is the outside of the lens. This is the nose. Now it's going to move over. Now the bevel goes on there. It's like a knife-like edge. A very dull knife, just like me. Very dull. This lens will be so sharp afterwards you'd be able to cut a wet tissue with it. So you'd have to push really hard. Renato! Your advice. Be honest with me. Do I need to work on my Spanish? You know, I got the Rosetta Stone for Christmas. You would think that I would be fluent by now. We live in a world of instant gratification. You think if I bought it, I should be fluent. No, you have to put it in the computer and study. No one ever taught me that. Everything else, you take it out of the box and it works. What's up with that? Rosetta Stone, a little bit different. But honestly, I don't know how any businessman cannot know Spanish in this day and age. I had 4 years of French in high school, and that proved out to be not as useful as my guidance counselor said it would. So now your lens is done. I'm going to take it out of the chuck. Thank you, Chuck. Excuse me, Charles. I don't know you well enough yet. Okay, I'm going to dry your lens off so it's not slippery on live TV as you watch me drop it. That is quite embarrassing. So it's almost done. You still have a little bit of rough edges there, so I want to smooth these out with my hand stone. And it's completely flat. I can put my hand on it while it's running. The only thing that happens is my finger gets warm from the friction. But that friction allows me to smooth everything out around the edges. Now I'm going to use my thumbnail to scrape. This is called Schwarf. It's optical sawdust. I'm going to use that to scrape that off the edge of your lens until it's all on the counter. And this is the part I love in every video. Once it's on the counter, I wipely get it in one pile, and then I wipe it on the floor. And this is where I say, kids, stay in school. I went to school for years to learn how to make a mess like that. If you want to be like me, stay in school and learn to make a mess. So let's see if your lens fits. It probably doesn't. Have no fear. I'm going to tuck it in at the outside corner, and using my thumbs, I press down at the nose. It does not go in. It rarely does in this frame because it has such a deep bevel. So I'm going to take it down 1/10 of a millimeter and hit retouch. Now it's not going onto the cutting wheel. It's going to bypass that and go straight to the bevel wheel. And 1/10 of a millimeter is going to come off the circumference of your lens. 1 millimeter is the distance between my thumbnails. I'm going to take 1/10 of that distance off around the circumference of your lens. And I'm going to keep doing it over and over until this pops in perfectly. I do not want to force the lens in that's too large. If you think of this bevel as a gutter, if I force the lens in there, it's going to force you to... Oh, got another text. Hang on. Guy's coming. I'll be over tomorrow afternoon to mow. Perfect. Perfect. Guy's coming to mow my yard. But if this were a gutter and I put the lens in too tight, it would force the frame to misshapen, get torqued, misaligned, and force it outward, and it's called rolling. You never want your frame to roll, so I do what's known as a cold mount, where I pop the lens in and it goes in easily. I do not force it. I have all the time in the world. If all the time in the world means 21 minutes, because that's how long YouTube will allow me. Did the lens just get wet? Did it get wet? Let me dry everything off there. I have a 21-minute time limit or the video gets cut in two. So that's going to come out. I'm going to take your lens out, dry it off. There we go. Dry everything off. I'm going to smooth off the rough edges again one more time. Real fast. The safety bevel on the handstone. Real fast. I'm going to bypass the counter and just let it drop on the floor this time. Isn't that fun? Kids, stay in school. How many times I got to tell you? So, let's make sure this fits this time. I'm going to tuck it in at the outside corner, and using my thumbs, I press down at the nose. Now it snaps in perfectly. So let's go ahead and cut your left lens. I'm going to flip that over and hit start. And just like before, the calipers are going to come down and trace the shape of your left lens, starting on the concave side of the lens first, closest to your eyelashes, then moving over and tracing the convex side. how vexing it is being on the outside. Perhaps you can see the cutting wheel a little bit better this time. It is the one on the left. It is the heavy grit sandpaper. Now your lenses are made out of polycarbonate, which is 40% thinner and lighter than regular plastic. It is virtually unbreakable. Your lenses are bulletproof up to 22 caliber. Yes, they are. They also have UVA and UVB protection. We know what the sun's harmful ultraviolet rays can do to your skin. Your eyes are 8 times more sensitive, so you now have permanent sunscreen for your eyes. Now this block is no longer needed. I'm going to take them off. I'm going to pull that blue sticker off now that it's no longer needed. And I'm going to dry everything off again. Now your lenses, they're also aspheric, meaning that spherical is round like a basketball. I'm trying to make a perfectly round shape. These are actually much flatter. They do not bulge out from the surface of the frame. It's a much better cosmetic feel. Out there on the internet, whenever you buy lenses for someone, they start with the cheap plastic. I start with the polycarbonate. Well, actually, you can upgrade to the polycarbonate, and then you can upgrade to an aspheric lens. I start with the unbreakable polycarb in aspheric. That's what you get from me for free. That is 3 upgrades according to every other seller on the internet. That is where I start at and go up from there. As you can see, I do all my lab work so I can control the quality and the cost. That's how I can afford to give away free lenses, prescription or non-prescription, with the purchase of a frame. Your lens is still flat all the way around the edge. And in just a moment, it's going to move over and put the safety bevel onto the lens. Actually, the bevel. I'll put the safety bevel on. If you notice, water is running in the background, but polycarbonate cuts dry. Plastic and high-index lenses cut wet. Ooh, how's that for some Schwarf? There's a good piece. Good piece. Look at that one. Look at that one. Ooh, I got some more. Oh, this is a Renato. This is a good one. I'm always happy when I get that much off. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that. That is your unbreakable polycarbonate material. Polycarb was actually invented for fuel lines for Jeeps in World War II. The original fuel lines were made out of gas. And if they broke, or if a rock went up and they broke, fuel would spill out onto the ground or the engine in a combustible environment, especially with bullets flying, and things could explode. So they came up with a material that was bulletproof, that would not break, and so the fuel would never spill. After that, they figured out, what can we do with it? And they learned to make lenses, and they keep improving the optical quality to now it's the best it has ever been. In fact, if they keep refining polycarb even more, it becomes Kevlar, and that's what they use for the bulletproof jackets. So this still has the bulletproof qualities about it. The same lightweight features. This is so much lighter than regular plastic. So this is going to be much more comfortable when you're wearing it. Again, I'm going to clean that Schwarf off. And this time I'm going to eliminate the counter and just drop it straight on the floor. And of course, kids, stay in school. Learn to make a mess. Okay, so I'm going to start. I turn the frame where the empty side is closest to me. I'm going to tuck it in at the outside corner using my thumbs. I press down. That snaps in perfectly. This block is no longer needed. I'm going to pull that block off, pull the sticky pad off, pull the blue sticker off, throw that away. I do want to clean the last of the moisture off your lenses before I ship it to you. And one more thing I want to do before shipping is make sure it's in standard alignment. Now, 99% of all optical shops do free adjustment. So when you get these, if they're too loose or too tight, or one side is higher than the other because you have one ear higher than the other, I say that because I do when I take mine off. And this is the original Wayfarer, this is the new Wayfarer. That is the difference between them. But I have one ear that's higher than the other, so when I push down on my frame, it wobbles. That's why they sit level on me. Now your frame, I press down on both sides. There is no wobble. I flip it over. Same thing. I want to close each temple to make sure they overlap perfectly and that the same amount of tension is on each side, and it is. I'm about to get this in your Rayban case and get it shipped to you. But for now, If anyone has any questions about what I can and can't do, just email me at freeprescriptionlenses@gmail.com or simply click the Contact Me button on the website. I will respond back quickly thanks to my new Samsung Gear 2 watch where I get my emails directly to my watch. Renato, I'm sorry for butchering your name. I hope you had fun watching your glasses being made, and everyone else out there can see how I bring that love and feeling back to glasses. Thank you.